shovel in Sons of the Forest is a key piece of equipment. It's how you progress the story and unlock so many more new items. So maybe for that reason, that's why it's pretty hard to get, as you need a whole bunch of other tools. So here's the full guide to the shovel cave and a few tips on what other equipment you'll need to get it. So you need two pieces of equipment before you go and get the shovel. You're going to need the rope gun, which is situated in this cave at this location here. You can check in the comments section for detailed guides to both of these locations that I'm going to be showing you. But this one is filled with pretty much every type of creepy. You've got the sluggies, you've got the twins, you've got lots of fingers and a whole ton of mutants. So it's not going to be easy. Eventually you'll come to a cliff, and this is where you pick up the rope gun, and then you can make your escape down the rope and exit out the cave. Step 2, you need to head over to the beach spawn. This is where there is a cave close to it, and you can pick up the stun gun, but more importantly the rebreather. It's one of the spawn locations, otherwise you will have to head quite a way to get to it. There's 2 routes to go in this cave, so don't miss out on getting the stun gun, as I found it pretty useful. It works nearly on every creepy. And eventually you'll make your way through until a pool of water, where sometimes you should see a shark and the rebreather. You can then jump into the water and go ahead and make your escape out. In that particular cave you'll find more creepies and mutants, but that's about it. No twins and no sluggies. Now at the 3D printer you can go ahead and craft the hooks that you need to make your own rope hooks. But for this particular cave you won't need some, as there is already going to be a line that you can use. But thought I would mention it just in case people thought they might need to bring their own. The gun that you pick up will allow you to use any rope that you find already placed. And once again, I've got a guide for that. It's the 5 things you should do first. Go and check out that. All 3 guides if you want more complete walkthroughs of them caves. So once you got them, you need to head to the cave that's pretty much on a T-junction of rivers pretty close to the mountains. You'll find some dead bodies on sticks just outside it, and this is the cave entrance to go and get the shovel. Don't forget to pick up the slingshot on your way through. So you'll use your rope line straight away. There's a small few resources and maybe an air canister at the bottom here, but otherwise you're going to jump straight on the rope. You can't just cheese or parkour or climb, well not that I could try anyway, a bunch of times. You do need that rope gun. Pick up some more air canisters nearby, and essentially this is just a large room with the pool water that we're going to have to dive into. Once you're in the water you need to actually turn around and you'll see the entrance way, and you have to dive down and turn back on yourself. There's only one direction here to go, so when you get up onto the land here, you can actually make the mutants drown themselves. If they fall deep enough inside, they will actually die. There's at least 3 mutants guarding this small location, so be careful. It does make it a bit harder to strip some of the creepies' body parts for armour if they're in the water, but you should be able to do it. You'll run into at least another couple along the way, and if you've got the cross you could potentially just bypass them. As long as you're actually actively holding it in front of them, pressing RT or the right mouse button or attack button, it should do the job and make them cower in fear. If you turn your back on them though, they will start to come and try and hit you. It only basically stuns them for a few moments so that you can just walk on by. You find that cross also in the same cave that you got the rope gun. If you're already maxed out on mutant armour, you could literally just run through this area before eventually you'll end up slipping and going deeper down into the cave system. You're not going to be making an exit back this way. So be careful about where or how you save inside this cave. Remember, you can put your tarpaulin down anywhere if you've got one and make a quick save point, but yeah, it might be advisable not to do that so soon, or just really check it at least once before finding out a good spot to save. You'll get some more resources down at the bottom, lots of crates and chests to open, and once you're ready start progressing forward again. There'll be some crates with C4 and grenades in, and you would have noticed some dodgy looking rocks. Don't bother trying to blow them up with explosions, a little later I'll explain why. So in the chamber next to it you should find at least 5 mutants. As said, the cross does work, but if you take your eye off them or your back to them at any point, that's when they may decide to go ahead and charge. In the end, I had to kill them just because I wanted to be able to loot in peace and check all the corners. Grab more loot, including tape, and then you've actually got 2 ways to go. The more obvious route with a big light shining down a corridor, but there's also the light that is shining on the staglights. This happens quite a lot, so always pay attention to where lights are shining. They're not just for fun, they often do point to extra ways that you can go. If you hop above, you should find in the corner here loads of money and some more resources like vodka to make molotovs and some carbon arrows. You can dive into the pool of water just beside him then, and there'll be 2 ways to go this time. We're going to go down the right hand side, and this will actually be a loop that goes back to that chamber that we just left, but it is going to be filled with enemies. You'll find obviously lots of leg parts and arms, and this is where we're going to go right just down this little alcove here. We'll explore the left hand side in a while. You will have to deal with a twins, so make sure you've got some explosives or molotovs. Usually 1 molotov and a couple of hits of a decent weapon will do the job, or at least 2 molotovs and 1 hit. I maybe went a bit overkill here with the bomb, as coins are quite hard to find, or not as easy as they were to find in the last one, so it means you are in a bit more short supply. You will have to deal with some babies here as well. But either way, clear the corridor out and progress. You'll come out into a much larger room, and there should be another 2 twins and a whole bunch of the actual fingers. I've been holding onto these grenades a while, so I figured now was the perfect time to use them. As long as you don't actually rush in, it's the best course of action to take care of them this way. They generally won't come near you, and you can throw from range and get rid of a lot of them. More resources to get, particularly C4, ammo and more. And don't miss out on the flashlight attachment on this body right here. I do believe this should go on your pistol. And that's pretty much it. The corridor will take you back to that very first chamber where I told you to jump across the stalagmites to go into the small pool of water. It really is easy to miss that opening, and you may never explore the rest of the cave system. So hop over the stalagmites again, jump into the water, but this time we're going to hug the left hand side instead of going to the right. It's quite a way to swim this time as well, so obviously make sure you have got a few canisters. You should have picked up a couple at least in this cave. If you feel like you need more, probably alright. 1 canister would normally do. In fact, I think I've been running on the same canister for at least 2 caves now. When you come out immediately, you'll come across a fingers, some more mutants, and it will lead to another chamber where you see a big amount of light. There'll also be some babies in this next room too. Take care of them. And in the corner there'll be another set of twins. If you're lucky, they'll get stuck on the stalagmites like I did. Although do note, of course, if this is looking too easy, I am playing with the enemies dealing lower damage or taking more damage from me. As long as you've got plenty of coins, you'll be able to make even more explosives, but I definitely would say make sure you're stocked up before coming down here, although you will be using a lot of them grenades that you find along the way too. And then at the very end is the shovel. It's amazing that on this island filled with 100 dead bodies, you can find everything from billions of bottles of wine to a whole ton of explosives, guns and more, but there's only 1 shovel. I do like the idea that this is signifying something we'll explore later. I had debated whether or not there could be an instance of being able to use the rope gun, but by the looks of things, no. I tried jumping over and there was an invisible wall blocking me. Make sure you pick up the more ammo and stuff that's inside the 2 chests. And I'm guessing we'll be back here later on in the story. Though weirdly, you can go ahead and throw some of the flares down. You then have to pretty much go back the way that you came. It seems a bit strange. Usually, you know, there's a 2-ended way. A lot of the other caves have an extra exit to go through, but this one, not yet. You head to the corridor with a dodgy wall, you'll see it's broken open and Sluggy is there. You want to use your grenades or C4 explosives, timed explosives on these. I think the Molotovs take just a bit too long. I did chuck around 3 and it didn't really seem to do much. In the end, I actually had to get up close and personal. So I'd run out of coins to make my own explosives, and I didn't want to use up the rest of my grenades. Didn't seemingly do too much damage. I know I'm playing on slightly easier setting, but you can see I only lost 1 piece of armor there, wailing on it for quite a bit. Obviously, if you've got ranged weapons, you've got yourself lots of arrows and a bow, then go ahead and that might be the best bet. But it must have took another good 10 to 12 swipes on top of the Molotov cocktails before it was dead. Now, if you're wondering why I went down this corridor anyway, taking care of these babies, or why I had to bother, why didn't I just go back the way I came? Well, do remember that there is that big massive slope. You could potentially build a zipline rope to get back up if you wanted to, so that could be a way if you want to avoid Sluggy or you just don't have the actual firepower. There was another set of babies, but that was it. There wasn't really any extra loot, which again I was a bit disappointed in, that there wasn't something substantial, and you come to the cave exit. It would of course be pretty close to where you originally went into the cave in the first place, and you're done. There'll be various spots around the map that you'll be able to dig up. They'll have the location marked usually by either purple or green circle, and of course once you get to them you'll see or notice the sand or dirt has got an indicator to use the shovel. I went straight over to one of the green markers that I'd first encountered in my first run, next to this golf cart and some tripods with surveyors on. Here it is on the GPS, just scanned a little bit more for you. So it's pretty much just across the way from the cave, which is slightly to the south or just below us. This is Maintenance Tunnel A. I'm not going to spoil what's inside, leave you guys to that. Well, certainly not in this video anyway. I will have a video showing you though every location that you can dig up separately. What I would say is though, this is definitely important if you want to explore places that may have had locked doors. And once again, promoting my new channel. It's called JPG 100 Days, and so I'll be live streaming Sons of the Forest every day pretty much for the next few weeks at least, and hopefully doing a 100 days video for you. Just go and check it out now. And there you go. I hope you found that useful. As I said, check out the other guides if you're struggling to get the rebreather or the actual rope gun, and I'll see you right back for more Sons of the Forest guides and tutorials very soon.